Welcome into Just Another Podcast, hosted by yours truly, Just Another Chris. And in today's episode, I've got a little fun conversation with a good friend of mine, Caitlyn Johnston. I met Caitlyn back in 2018 at a creator video marketing event known as Vid Summit. We learn about work-life balance. She's also a wedding videographer, so we dive a little into that, what it takes to do it, and should you hire your friends? It's a good conversation. She even asked me like what I make and what's the cost of like doing what I do, creating a podcast, doing the YouTube channel. She's also been my guide into Taylor Swift. Yes, we talk about Taylor Swift in this episode. It's a great conversation, so sit on back and enjoy episode 13 of Just Another Podcast. Caitlyn, what is going on?
Hi, I'm Caitlyn.
It's so good to see you. It's kind of funny.
Good to see you as well.
It's kind of funny. I don't think we've actually technically have ever talked like face to face.
Well, I mean, outside of when we first met.
Yes, but it was always it was
how many years ago?
That's
true.
2018, I think. Yeah, it's 2018.
Yeah.
Vid
so I mean, we definitely talked then, but now we just talk over text and social media and just complain about things or fangirl over Taylor Swift.
Yeah. I'm a new entry into the.
Do your viewers know that? Or did I just like break the wheel?
Breaking news: Chris is now a Swiftie. So no, I mean I've posted a picture, on Instagram of the Taylor's 1989 album, the Taylor version, and or Taylor's, right? It's Taylor's version.
Yep, correct.
And people were like, I was getting the comments and the messages like, "What are you doing? What's going on?" I'm like,
haters gonna hate.
Exactly. But yeah,
nothing to be ashamed about though.
No, it's kind of funny because I've always liked her music over the years, but I had friends and that were like, every time that the topic of her would come up, they would be like, who is she? Like, she's so weird. She's in all these bad relationships. You gotta think it's her problem, and this and that. Or they make fun of me because I'll be like jamming out to one of her hits or whatever, and I get made fun of. So I was a closeted Swiftie for quite some time.
Well, a lot of us were.
And then, so this year, I'm like, you know what? I don't care.
Now's the time. Yeah, I didn't mean to launch into Taylor Swift. It was just a natural thing that I said, and I can naturally talk about her for hours. But one thing I'll just say, we can move on to whatever else you want to get into. But one thing that I respect about you is that you actually are taking the time to listen to her full albums. And that is because I think that you can have any opinion you want about Taylor Swift, her music, whatever. If it's not your type of music, that's fine. But if you have actually not listened to her entire discography, or at least full albums, you don't get to have an opinion. That's just how I feel.
That's just like, I think a great like philosophy of her life.
And any other artist or whatever, watching movies and stuff like that. You don't get to have an opinion. I wish you the best on your Taylor Swift journey. I could talk about her for literal hours.
Well, we could loop back to her. Maybe we'll wrap up the
loop back. Yeah, we got to pivot, or else I'll stay forever.
There's more. I mean, there's more I could say. We'll come back.
That's not what people want to hear.
Yeah, you never know. There could be some secret closeted Swifties out there. Right. So let's learn a little bit about you. I know what you do, but why don't you kind of tell the fine people what do you do?
Well, there's just a lot to that, but let me see. So we met at a video marketing conference thing called Vid Summit. And I've always been involved in like media. So I did social media for that event when we met, and I'm still involved a little bit. So that's just one. I was also about to graduate college, I think, or I had just graduated. I can't remember. In 2018, I think I just graduated. Yeah. So kind of fresh into the world, but I didn't really know what I was doing. So I've always been interested in video, media, and currently my full-time job is a radio talk producer. I love my job. It's very stressful, but it's fun and it keeps me on my toes. I just always like just learning new things, and that's something my job does. It's just very fast paced, so I get very overstimulated. But I have ADHD, I've been told, and so it's kind of perfect for me at the same time. Other than that, I do videography, primarily a little bit of photography, but primarily videography. I've done a lot of wedding videos, and it's not even really been by full choice. I guess it has been by choice, but it wasn't like, oh, hey, I'm going to be this wedding videographer. It was not my plan. I just got asked to do it once. And then as that happens, you get asked to do it a lot of times. And I was just kept doing it. And I started doing that in 2017. That's how many years is that? 6 years?
Seven.
I don't know math, but it's been a lot of years. And so I'm still doing them. They're on my other monitor right now. Right here, I have a video that I am trying really hard to get done before Christmas is my goal. So I don't know. I'm working nonstop, and you can't rush like the creative process sometimes, but you also have to like apply yourself. And that's just one thing that I've learned, because this year's been like really hard on just like, I went through some traumatic stuff, number one, but I've just been super busy with my full-time job and videos and trying to just figure out where I want to fully land with everything. And I'm kind of in this stage of reevaluation where I'm not quite sure what I want to do next year. Because my job is kind of ramping up a little bit more. We've added one extra day because this year, ever since the show started, it's only been Monday through Thursday, and now we're Fridays starting in January. So that's taking up one of my brain days is what I like to call them, just recharging and stuff. And so that was just one thing that was kind of pushing me to not want to do wedding videos anymore, or at least not as many. But I'm still trying to figure it out. But I also went through like trauma this year. And so when you go through like really traumatic stuff and just overwhelming stuff, it really causes you to be like, wait, what are we doing here? What is this? And so just like after all of that, like just trying to catch up on my backlog was so hard, like so draining. I literally went manic, like, and because I had to get the videos done. Like I was already behind because it's hard to just edit them anyways because of my job. I just have to do it on the weekends, and I'm not home every single weekend. But now, and then after that happened, I just kind of went full force, and I would stay up super late and wake up super early and just get them done. I would get neck tension, which I'm currently kind of in that, trying to figure this one out. But then I realized, like, when I actually finished the ones that were really stressing me out, that I was really behind on, and I released it from my brain, everything else in my life was better because I had the room for the other things. It was more present in my other job because I was more up to speed on things that were happening in the news. I was able to meal prep for myself. I was able to, get myself to the gym and all that stuff and just think more clearly. And yeah, so that's what I do. And I kind of just went really deep into that, but it's kind of like, I say this is what I do, but I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing now. So I feel like I'm in a transitional phase right now and figuring that out.
I've felt that I've been in a transition stage for the last 7 years. I mean, it's like, I don't think that ever goes away, especially in like our world, like what we do. It's always evolving. It's always changing. You have to keep up or get left behind in some cases. But no, I can relate to a lot of that. But I mean, from what I'm seeing, it looks like you're just killing it.
Yeah, but I'm a mental mess. So I'm trying to like, I'm not uninterested in like what I've been doing and like doing videos and wedding, but I just don't know if wedding videos are where I want to be at because they look pretty, but they are so stressful. Like you have someone's once in a lifetime day in your hands. And that's actually like one reason I like doing it, is because I can, capture that day and make something that people can look back on. I like that. But I'm also just kind of like, I don't want to spend my weekends watching other people's lives anymore.
I've done only a couple, and they were just favors for friends. I thought about getting into that world.
Never do them as a favor.
Yeah, no.
My first one was a favor.
I didn't have a bad time because it was still like my friend, like getting married, and so I got to I knew some of the people there, and it was fun.
Yeah.
And then the very first one I ever did, it was for, well, at the time it was my sister-in-law, not my sister-in-law anymore, but so that one was fine too. I thought about getting into that game, but I don't
recommend it.
It's
good money. Like if I didn't have a full-time job, and I don't think I'd want to do it full-time, but I know that I live in Utah, and so I know that there is a market and a strong market for wedding videos. Like you have work if you're decent at it, and a lot of people are looking for cheap ones, which I learned I'm not cheap, and so I raised my prices. Currently I haven't raised them, and I usually do it at the end of every year, but I'm not sure I'm even gonna like market myself at all next year because I just don't I think I need at least 6 months without anything to edit, and then I'll just reevaluate because, man, it's just been rough. And I just want to not have homework on the weekends. So, because I've done it my entire life. So it's just hard. I don't know, because I really do love the creative process. I love photo and video, and I'll continue to do that. I just have to like find my spark for it again, because it's been a little lost. But I get there, and like when the video I'm editing, I'm like, wow, they're gonna love this, you know what I mean? Or I mean, by the time I'm done with it, I'm like, wow, they're gonna hate this. I hate it. I don't like it at all, and I just want to like rip my hair out. But usually, I haven't really had anybody not like their video. So I mean, if they did, they didn't tell me. So, but it's like you put in so much work, like, and stress for months. Like for me, it's months because I only edit on the weekends. So it's like I think I calculated it to like 8 editing days total, or 8 to 10. But think about that as when it's just like Saturdays, or just Saturdays and Sundays. Like it's like 2 months, 4 months, and then it stacks on top of each other at 6 months. I've like, it's not good. Like when you have multiple like at a time. So there's just no time for breathing. And I don't want to do this on the weekends anymore. I don't want to.
Giving up all your free time.
Yeah, and I've been doing it since 2017 without really, like, with small breaks. So I'm not a lot of my friends are married now too, not all of them, but like that's where I kind of think about it a little deeper, is if I have somebody who I care about and I want to make sure their day is documented correctly, I'll be like, okay, I'm happy to do this one. But if I don't know you, like I'm happy to do it, but I'm also right now is not the time. So that's why I'm like, we're going to pump the brakes. I'm just going to finish my backlog and then we'll see where we're at.
Yeah, you got to. I think what I have been interested in trying, because I don't think it's ever been done before, probably because nobody wants it. But I think the only way I would be able to do a wedding is if somebody was like, "Hey, Chris, we want you to come shoot our wedding, but only shoot like instant photography, so we have photos of the day, like the same day, just like
that's
here
fun.
You go, no editing.
Well, I think that's
around, taking pictures.
That's fine." The actual shoot is not the issue. I mean, it still can be stressful because you have to make sure you get everything, and you have to like be on the entire time. By the end of the shoot, I'm done, but I'm done at the end. So I actually this summer I actually just shot a wedding, and then the person I work with him, he was like, "I'll edit it if you can just shoot it." So I was like, "Sure," because that's not really an issue. It's a Saturday, half a Saturday sometimes. I don't care. I don't mind that. But I also am very possessive over my wedding videos. And I shoot them and I edit them and they are mine. So it's kind of hard to like share that sometimes, but for my mental health, I probably wouldn't mind doing that. But like, even, I've considered like, oh, should I hire somebody to help me edit this? But I'm like, no, I can't. It's mine. Like it has to be my brain that does it. It's because I think the editing is the storytelling, not the shooting. So
100%. Like I'm still that way, but the last couple of years I've really lightened up, I should say, on some of that, what you just said. Because I was so possessive of my videos. They were my children, right? They're my babies. Like if I'm making this thing, it's in my head. I'm picturing the edit in my head as I'm shooting it. This is what I want it to look like. And then I don't know, it got to a point where I'm like, time is the most important thing in life, period. And now I still do my own editing and I do my own shooting and all that stuff. But lately I've just been kind of like letting, like, so when I travel, like one of my good friends, he lives out in Ohio. He handles the filming for me when I'm out there. And I'm like, oh, I have so much more fun now because that's not something I have to worry about. But normally I would never have let that happen because I'm like, I want to shoot this. I want it to look the way I want it. He has a different style than me. But and then also like with cameras, like I've went down that rabbit hole of like I needed to look just like Peter McKinnon, and like everybody else did. When in 2018, everyone was like, I need to look just like this. So I get my camera, get the ND filters, gotta get all these crazy things in every single shot. And now in the last couple of years, I just haven't cared about that. I'm just using my phone for like 90% of my YouTube videos, and people don't really care.
One thing I tell people a lot, and I mean, I'm kind of a tech person too, and I like the next best thing. I haven't bought a new camera since 2017, so that's why I'm like, I need a new one. But yeah, so what was I saying? The thing that I always tell people when they're like doing content and stuff is I think it's intimidating for a lot of people to have that expensive gear, but like literally just make the content and most people won't notice. Like I think audio is more important than video, because if you have bad audio, your video just like looks bad. I don't even know how to explain that, but so I don't know. And it's something that I've tried to learn too, because I definitely like good gear. I like that. I appreciate it. But I think that what's more important is the storytelling behind the editing, and have like good gear. It doesn't have to be the top tier best gear, but good gear to make it look clean, and then tell the story correctly and you'll be fine. So
yeah, like a lot of people get focused on the gear. Like I've talked to random strangers like at Subway one time years ago, and he asked me what, I don't know why, but he's like, hey, so what do you do for a living? He asked me, so I told him. He's like, oh yeah, man, I've been trying to, or no, he didn't say he was trying. He said, yeah, I'm going to be doing that too, but I need to learn everything, and I need to buy all the gear. I need to do this, and so I got to save up. I'm like, dude, you have a phone, man.
People are lucky, because when I was younger, I didn't have a phone.
No,
like we had, I mean, I started when I was in high school a little bit, but not with these cameras that we have now. It makes it so easy. And especially with like CapCut. I don't know if you've used that, but like it's like a TikTok editor, but it makes things so easy. And it was just, I don't know, creating content has never been easier. And I am just like almost uninterested in doing it because I've been trying to do it for so long. Well, but like it's just burnout. I am doing it.
You're burnt out from that stuff. So you can't focus on like your passion projects.
That's true. That's another point about like not wanting to do videos for other people as much. I kind of would like to find that passion for myself again, because it's there. It's just I've been burnt out. So I don't know. Like doing this podcast is probably going to recharge me, and I'm going to be like, let's go. I'm ready, but probably not, because I want to go read a book. But I just think that my perspective has changed a lot, because I really grew up with like the opening of social media and all of this, and so I was super into it when I was in high school, when it first kind of came out and started being a thing. So I was all in, and it's just over the years I've been like trying to keep up with it. I've been in it, and I've been kind of following it and all that, and then it just got to be too much, and I'm just like, this is for the Gen Z. This is for them. They can teach me. Like I keep up the best I can, but I think that something that will never go away, like the trends and like the algorithms and all of that will change, and you have to adapt, but like storytelling will never change. And so whether that's in short form or long form, I just think if you know how to tell a good story, that's what you can master your craft at. And that can be through audio, through writing, through video. And I kind of like to do all of them. I don't really write as much as I would like to, but I've always been focused in video, but I work in radio. So now I'm a little bit more focused on audio. So it's just kind of weird how I've landed in things, but a good story is a good story. And that's what's going to keep people there.
So let's say for example, like, or hypothetically, if you didn't have the radio job and you didn't do any wedding stuff, like what would you do? Like, what are you passionate about? Creating documentaries, telling people stories? I think
I have the answer. Well, essentially, in whatever form it is, I don't know. I actually, I think I was going to make that point. Like documentary is how I kind of figured out where I belonged in the creative world, because I didn't fit in with film. Like when I was in college, I didn't fit in with the film crew. I was like, these aren't my people. Like they were cool, but they were way too artsy and stuff. And I have an appreciation for that, but there's a difference between artsy and like actually knowing what you're doing, and artsy and just being stuck up. And I felt like I went to school with a lot of artsy stuck up. And I was like, I'm not with these people. So, and then there was a journalism side, which was a little bit too cut and dry. That one I was more in tune with, because it was telling stories, finding the facts, getting the information, figuring out the story beginning, middle to end. And then I took a documentary class because I decided I was in the communication field a little bit more, but I liked the creative. So documentary class merged it all together. And I was like, this is it. This is exactly what I want to do. Like, and it's kind of what put me onto the path of knowing that I love telling stories. And that just goes back to my same point. It's like whatever format it's on is like, it's fine. It's just the same process. And so if like dream job wise, I feel like I look back and I'm in my dream job. Like in reality, maybe it's just not how I imagined it to be. I didn't really imagine I'd work for a local radio station and be a talk producer. I thought I would be doing video or something.
Right. And
I honestly didn't know if I'd never wanted to work in news in my entire life. I was like, nope, that's not for me. I'm going to move past that. And then I landed in news. So it's just like weird. And so I think that my dream job is like a branch off of what I do now, but also I think I would run a podcast or do documentary, like a little bit more long form, but I just want to have real conversations and tell stories. And I don't know if it's more right now. I'm burnt out from kind of the editing and creative side of things, so I think I would be like pause on the documentary, but that's not saying I wouldn't want to in the future. It's just right now that's not what I want to do. Right now I am really enjoying just talking to you on this podcast. So like if I could just like host a show, I don't even know if I want to host or produce a show, which I do in my day-to-day job. I produce a show, so I'm kind of doing it. It's just in a different format than I don't know, I would naturally have thought. And it's also under the umbrella of somebody else. So I work for a company, which there's benefits to that. There's not like, so that's fine. But, I think there's sometimes limitations on, stories I would pitch because it's a news station. So I think I would just like to have a podcast where I can generate income and have brand deals that pay my bills and talk to real people. So, and I know I can do that. It's not that I'm limited in doing it. I've been burnt out, so I haven't done it.
It's really easy to do, even when you are working like for yourself, like me. Like there's still a daily struggle every day for me to make something.
It's hard
because I am doing all of it. So, for example, like your job that you do at the radio station, like in a way, for somebody that wants to start a podcast, they have to do every single role that radio station has hired multiple people to do. And it's very overwhelming, and it just gets so easy to say, I'm going to sit on the couch today and just watch watch The Office for the 18th time this year, and so there's like, it's just, you have to motivate yourself. It's tough. It's hard. But once it gets rolling, right?
When you get that motivation.
And once that momentum's going, as far as like, oh, I uploaded a video or I uploaded an episode of the podcast.
You get dopamine, and then you want to do it again.
Then boom, it hits, and like, or after you recorded it and you start feeling, oh, this feels good. And then someone watched it, someone left a comment on it, like, oh, this is really cool. It's like I'm doing something, or you got positive feedback. What? Not hate?
Yeah.
It keeps you going, and that's the stuff you have to remember. Not really. I'm not talking directly to you. I'm talking like to the audience.
No, I get it. Yeah.
It's something you have to remember while you're trying to, like on those days you want to sit on the couch and just watch The Office for the 18th time this year. You have to remember that, like some of that process, like, I'll feel good once I just kind of stand up and start going through the motions, and then it'll just start falling in place. That's literally me every single day.
I know that's such a hard life for you, like being a content creator full time. I just can't, because that's my weekends, just like trying to get myself moving on like creativity. So, and I've been in your spot before where I've worked from home. Like I've still had my other jobs, but it's just a battle. And so like I am forced with my job. I kind of am on all the time because I have to read the news. I have to understand stories. I have to find relatable content. So like I am always looking for that. But I go to work at a certain time, the ball's rolling, and I'm going hard until about noon is when my show ends. And then I have a little break, and then we start over and start the process. But it's like I'm just going, and I'm forced because I'm around other people. But that self-starting, it's so hard to get into that creative mindset. And I do it I've been procrastinating this wedding video all day because I've been editing I've been editing it for the past few weekends, but I'm off work now for 2 weeks, and I've been going like full day editing since Monday. And I'm just like, I am exhausted and I don't want to look at this thing today, but I really want to get it done by the end of the week. And I think I can. So I get it. I did some cool things this year. We won a Gracie Award, I guess is how you say that. You probably don't know what that is, but it's a award for women in broadcast and just stuff. But we went to New York and we got that award. We won for local media, and it was really cool. It was my first accomplishment in radio. And so I just feel like
it's incredible.
Yeah, I feel like I made a shift where I want to put a little bit more focus into that work. I want to do both because I think there's a creative like spark in me that has to be fed. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think it's just like done. But I just kind of want to see what I can do to really push myself in this job. And then if I can do my own podcast, because I really enjoy like this type of stuff. Yeah. I love conducting interviews. I love talking to people. I love just producing it and finding the people and having somebody else talk to them. I think that that's really my true like passion.
Yeah.
I just sometimes really like the creative aspect of it as well, which is kind of the documentary side of things. So.
Well, get on it. Just start packing.
It's just not. No. You can ask me that in like maybe March of next year.
I'll hold you to March.
Yeah.
March 1st. March
Well,
1st
not even March. So here's my plan. I finished this wedding video. Like I hope that I can send this like by Christmas. But like as I mentioned, the creative process does whatever it wants to do. Like I'm trying to get through all the footage, and that's my goal. Maybe today. You kind of woke me up a little bit by doing this because I was having a really hard time. I was falling asleep like earlier. So I'm just gonna like go through it for the afternoon. I didn't do a morning session. I'm gonna do just an afternoon session today, and it's fine because I've been going like 12 hours a day. So, but anyways, the goal is to get maybe through all the footage today. Maybe I'll just try to clean up this last section because it's way too long right now. But if I get this one done, I think I'll probably have it completely out of my hair maybe by next week because there's more than just like this highlight that I send. And then I have like 2 other smaller projects that are kind of family related, and those shouldn't take me very long. And then I have a wedding video that is my friend's she didn't like the longer version of her edit, and I was like, well, give it to me. When I get caught up, I'm happy to look at it and just do an edit because I really am happy to do that. But it's been like 5 years since she's been married. She got her video like a little bit after that, but I've had the footage for a couple years now, and so I'm just like, now's the time when I don't have any of my own weddings just waiting in the wings that I think I can just jump into that. And so when I get that done, I will have a fully, I think, clean slate of of my own edits. And so I just need to sit with that for a minute, maybe a couple months. Yeah. And once I do that, I think I'll know what my next step is. So, but this type of stuff fuels my fire. So it's just, and I mean, maybe we can do another podcast episode in the next few months and it'll just kind of re-spark me a little bit. I like just having conversations. I do it all the time. So
yeah, no, me too. I remember when we first we met and everything. We were talking about doing something for a long time, but we're like, what do we do? What do we do? What can we do?
Right.
And we never did. And it took this many years just to do it.
Well, you had to initiate it. So, because I still don't have a podcast. I have a name for a podcast. I have like an account created. I just I made it like 2 years ago and I never did anything with it. So
we're already like a quarter of the way there.
My podcast would just be about talking to people I'm curious about and about topics I'm curious about.
Yeah, that's
what it is.
That's kind of a little bit about, or what I kind of do on my podcast. So there's never, like I have a film and photography type YouTube channel, but the podcast is more for me to be able to talk to interesting people, learn about them, have a conversation, and also be able to share stuff that I really that doesn't make sense to put on my channel. It doesn't really fit. Right. So I can talk about like random things, like crazy stories that's happened or about unrelated things.
And something I think like just with that in mind is I think that there's a kind of a need for that authentic conversation in today's world. I like your reindeer cup or glass. That's cute.
It's Christmas.
I wish I had. I have a mug that says it's a skeleton and it says "dead inside." So
that's fitting.
That's just where I'm at. So. But anyway, what was I even saying? I don't even remember what I was saying.
I really wasn't trying to distract you. I was just thirsty.
I think that there's a need in today's world for the real authentic conversations and honestly the longer form. I know that it's still there on YouTube and stuff like that, but I think that short form has really taken over and I think it's completely ruined my attention span. Yeah, and I don't like it, even though I'm addicted to Reels and TikTok and all that because I do enjoy it and I post on it and stuff like that. But I just sometimes forget that it's very nice to just sit and listen to a longer form conversation because I just don't think that people do it as often anymore. Maybe I'm wrong about that and I'm just on the wrong side of things and I just don't see it as often. But I know that my roommate listens to podcasts all the time. I listen to podcasts, but it's not my main content that I'm consuming. Yeah. I don't have the time or the brain power to do it, which is one thing which I don't like that about my life. But
it sucks for us as far as, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. It sucks for us on that point is we edit video and stuff, we can't just throw on a podcast in the background as we work, like a photographer could.
Sucks.
As they're editing the photos. We can't, because we have to be hearing what's going on.
That's my biggest issue with videos, and why I think everyone says I'm so good at video, but I'm just like, I can't stand it. Like, I just can't, because you're so right. Sorry, I just hit my mic. I don't know how that sounded, but with my wedding videos, I think that like I just would do so much better if I could have a show on in the background, or like, because if we have ADHD, that's what I take medicine for it, so I'm assuming that it's true, and I think it's true because of the way my brain is. But sitting still and just doing a video, especially a long form wedding video like this, is so freaking hard for me to do. And so these headphones are great because they're noise cancellation, and they just like, they make me in. And when I get that groove going, like I got into it yesterday, I do great and I make a lot of progress and it's good. And it takes me a long time to actually get into that groove, but I totally understand that. Like when I edit photos, I'm like, oh, okay, it's a little hard, but at least I can watch a show or listen to a podcast. Exactly. So it's just like, oh, that's something that I relate to so heavily, and why I think I need to just take a step back from video for just a little bit. It's not a long-term thing. It's just I need to breathe, like just for a minute. So I used to be a lot more motivated, but I realized that life doesn't have to always be about working. And I know that it kind of has to be. You have to make your money, because like I'm poor. I have no money. And I have a full-time job and side hustles, but I've tried to step back on the side hustles just a little bit just to breathe. But I just, that's my kind of my point of like not wanting to watch other people's lives on the weekend. I want to book a trip. I want to go do this. I want to do that. I want to slow down, and then more stuff that's better for me will just come to me. So
it's funny you're bringing up like trips and stuff and watching other people. It's like the work-life balance is something that is for me, and it sounds like for you, is so hard, because literally I wake up, what am I gonna make? What am I gonna edit? Where am I gonna go?
I don't envy
shoot?
You.
And so it's been an issue, obviously just for myself. Like, but it's hard because like it's just me, right? I live alone. There's nobody else here except for my dogs. And so I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. And there's not going to be anybody there to like tell me no, or we got to go do this, or let's go do that. But it's been a problem in the sense of like when I am hanging out with my friends, going out somewhere, I'm like, oh, this will make it for a cool video. And I start recording or doing something, and they look at me funny. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, I guess I don't always have to be making something, but then
you always feel like you have to be on. I understand that. And I feel like I relate to that in the way where when I'm out with people, I'm just like, oh, I should be home editing. I need to go home and do this. And so I want to be more present in my situation, like whatever relationships I'm in, or just like my friendships and stuff like that. I just want to be there, not worrying about, oh, I need to go do this and that. But it's because it's really just wedding videos that really get to me, because it's someone is waiting on them, and they paid me to do this, so I have to go get it done. But it's really hard on my brain. And I think it's getting better now, but I think like creator mental health, or just mental health for anything in that creative field, is just like, it's so common, and that it's just hard to get around sometimes. But I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but I just think that it's good that we talk about those things.
It is,
and how it's important to like know, like, it's a challenge every single day. It's not just a quick, like on a TikTok video, when you see a nice put together one that's like probably 30 seconds long or a minute long, that probably took them like half a day to make sometimes, depending on what it is.
Not including prep time sometimes.
Right. And prep time. If it's not just on the fly, like it's not as easy as people think. And that's why I'm just like, someone else can do it right now. I'm just going to sit in the sidelines. And I think that rest, I used to like not be able to rest, like sit and watch a movie, or like, I don't know, just zone out for a little bit. But I have learned that that's actually what recharges me. Sometimes I think it's procrastination, but then when I don't do that, I don't work as well in my brain, and the creative flow doesn't happen. So sometimes if I'm just really overwhelmed, I have to just have a do nothing day. And I almost wanted to do that today. I didn't quite get there. This is recharging me a little bit, because I'm not thinking about that as much. But I just, rest, I kind of consider it as productive now. Not too much rest, but like
a
do nothing day to recharge helps.
Sometimes for me, like I have to space out like when I'm going to be taking like a break, and usually try to time it around like lunch, eating food. But if I don't eat food until like 3:00, So if it's like a late lunch, then I know that I'm like, well, I'm just probably gonna be done for the day after that.
Right.
So I try to
No, I
push
get
it
it.
to like almost don't even have lunch, skip lunch, go straight to dinner, because I know once I'm eating, I'm sitting there on the
You're done.
couch, I'm
You
watching
don't want to
TV,
anymore.
I'm
Yeah.
done. Like it's not gonna happen.
That's how I feel like, because I'm kind of how you're living day every day is how I've been the last few days, because I'm just doing wedding videos, and so I'm working. I'm off. I had to take time off of my other job to get my wedding videos done. Like I didn't have to. I was probably going to take this time off anyways, but like the reason I took this whole week off is because I needed time to do my video. And so I know like I'm waking up at like 6:37, and I usually start editing, I don't know, it's probably 9 or 10 when I actually get going, and then like I'll take a break for like, I usually give myself an hour or two because I need to recharge, and then I'll try to go back in for the afternoon evening session. And then last night I edited till about 7:30, and I did good yesterday, but I literally, that's more hours that you're supposed to work in a day. But it's just because I need to get this done, and it's stressing me the heck out. So and today I gave myself the morning. And then I went to the store and stuff, and then by the time I got back it was like 12. I started sitting at my computer, it was 12:30. I was like, I could work for an hour and a half. Do I want to? No. So I just did other things until we jumped on this. So I will do it after this. Yeah, I guess I'm going to procrastinate it anyways, but
well, yeah, it's really easy to do. I've been telling myself for the last couple of years too, I'm like, do I need to do this? Be more and more aware of it. And that's probably why I got into instant photography in the first place, because I was like, I'm not staring at a screen. I can shoot it.
Yeah.
And then
you don't have to edit it.
And there it is. And it's kind of fun. And you can do some cool things with it. And it's pretty, it's unique. It's expensive. So maybe I should start turning this into a job. So then that thought comes back into the brain. But it does help when I'm out with other people, because I could still, like, it is a balance. I could find opportunities to work, and it's not really work, because it says, oh, take a picture of this, take a picture of that. And I can make a video later. I don't have to record it,
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the balance I've kind of found.
I've been trying to do the same thing a little bit, and then I end up not making the video later. But hey, I have the footage if I need it one day. But just because I'm burned out on editing. Like, I just remember I used to be like, oh, I'm excited I get to go edit later. Now I'm like, oh, I have to go edit. I hate it.
I think
but that's why I need to get it. I need to get the spark back. I do like it. It's just not right now. I'm burnt.
I'm lucky, and I guess in the sense that the majority of the editing that I do is for me. It's my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I still do editing for other people, but it's not as like difficult, or it's not like, it's pretty casual. And a lot of times it is stuff that I've shot. Like I'm not with them anymore, but I was with Live Streaming Pros, and I shot and edited all their stuff. But and that was still fun, because I got to be sort of kind of in control of how we shot it and put some creativity in it. So I didn't really dread going and editing any of that stuff. So I mean, even now though, when editing my own stuff, I still feel that burnout a little bit from time to time. So I try to mix up what I'm doing to make it fun, so I don't get to the point where, like, kind of where you're at.
I get it. I wanted to ask, as you just mentioned, like working with the team and stuff, like, how do you feel? What was the question I was going to ask? It was a good question.
It was, I bet.
Hold on. It just left my brain as I was mid-sentence.
We're not live.
And now we're back over here. Even if we were, I wouldn't care. I like authenticity. I think I was just going to ask about comparing, like, working on a team versus working on yourself. Like, do you find more motivation working with a team? Like, I think I do, and kind of bouncing ideas off of each other. Like, how, I don't know. Would you like to go back to that?
Yes and no. I would say it would depend on a lot of things. Like, the problem with the issues that were working with the last team was that it was constantly changing. There was never a set, like, this is how we're going to do things. There wasn't a procedure put into place of how we're going to do our videos, or how we're going to edit things, who's in charge of what. It was always like kind of like a scramble to try and get things made. And everyone wore different hats in different departments, and nothing was ever like kind of core fixed. Or it was never fixed into place. So I every day it was like waking up to, okay, what's going to happen today? Who am I working with today?
Right.
Who do I contact today? So I don't really miss that part of it. I'd rather just take control of it and then do it. But in the very beginning when I was working with them, it was a little more structured. And I liked that. Actually, I will say in 2021, it got super structured and it was awesome. We had a plan in place. Everyone had their role and it was executed to perfection. There was videos going out on time every single week. It was super cool. I loved it. That lasted for only a few months, and then it just was a little difficult to try and figure out, like, what am I doing today? What's my job?
Yeah, that's like it's just disorganization, but it's hard. If I had to organize all that, that would be difficult. So, but I think that's what like a project manager's for and stuff like that.
So working with a team is great, and as long as it's like structured.
I mean, I feel like I work in a news station that has a lot of structure, but it's also a chaotic mess. So like it's putting out fires a lot behind the scenes, but we're so used to like pumping out content that like if I have a video and I send it in, they'll watch it and they'll post it like the same day. So it's, I see that there was some on that perspective. I don't think that that's the situation for every team, but I think that every team has like a disaster. Like, cause I think that there's like an issue when there's like almost too many cooks in the kitchen type of thing sometimes, and you just have to kind of step back and like just figure it out between a few people, and then you just say like, this is what we're doing, and do it.
No, exactly. So, now I understand like what you're saying, like there's always going to be fires, there's always going to be something that comes up, and being flexible is very important when you're in roles like us, like what we do. But having the what procedures or whatever in place of like the roles of each person in place.
I've got that. My video goes to a chat where there's primarily one person who watches it. Like she's the head of social, but there's like one or two that I don't know exactly how their team works, but it's like one of them watches it and then they upload it. Like that's what it is. If there's an issue, they get back to me, but it's like they kind of take it from there, and that's their job to do it.
Well, I haven't technically like worked a 9 to 5, so to speak, since, well, actually 2014. So coming up on 10 years, I've worked for myself. Like I worked for Livestream Pros, but I was a contractor. I was still kind of like my own person. But when I was working for other people, it was always the small businesses. So I got to like observe a lot, learn from what they were doing, what was working, what was not working. And they would share all sorts of stuff. And I would just kind of be a sponge and try to take on that information to better myself, because I knew at some point I'd be doing my own business of some kind. But it's not easy, I gotta tell you.
Well, and I think that there's always benefit to like having an open mind and learning from people who are running a team, and like learning, like you said, just different perspectives and stuff like that, because I learned so much from everybody I work with every single day, and that's one of the reasons I really like my job, because I do think if I were to just work for myself, I would go a little stir crazy and just not have any ideas to bounce things off of people, and it would just kind of drive me insane. But so I like having people to banter with and kind of figure things out in that way. But yeah, I don't know. You seem to manage it, though. I don't know.
Well, kind of.
I'm kind of just curious on like, how do you like, where do your income, do you care about talking about this? You don't have to, but I'm just like, I think a lot of people who are interested in like the creative field or whatever, being a content creator, are like scared of just like the risk that you have to take by not having, I don't know, secure income all the time. Like, what would you like? Do you worry about that every day? Do you feel like you have consistent streams of income? Like, where does it all, like, do you have like Patreon or whatever? Where do you feel like you get the most?
Yeah.
And is it stable? I don't know. I'm curious. I know how it works. You know, because I work with a lot of people like who do this, but I'm just curious.
Yeah. So I have 3 sources for where I draw in, and I always tell people if they want to get into content creation or do YouTube, just obviously do not just quit your job.
Right.
Don't just go all in, do it
unless you got a big savings account.
Unless you got a big, and even then I would say no, because it'll take you a year or 2 to really get to a point where you're even making a couple of bucks. I didn't start really making any money from the channel until like 2 years ago, maybe. And I started doing instant photography where I really kind of like took it seriously in 2020. I was making random just videos from 2018 till 2020, just for fun. 2020 is when I really dialed it in and started doing it. And so about 2022-ish, 2021, late 2021 is when I really started making money. And even then, we're talking like $500. You know,
It's good enough, but
most.
that's not a full-time job. Yeah, so.
Exactly. You can't survive off that. So where I draw my like most income, not most, where I just draw income from is from ad revenue, Amazon affiliate, and Patreon members area. Those are the big three. And now I'm at a point now where the last couple of months, everything's been doubled, all like except for Patreon. But for ad revenue and Amazon, it's the holiday time, so it's a good time. So I have to try and think about the content I make. Is to try and find stuff that's on Amazon and find what might be, you know, hot or things that people are going to be searching for to purchase. And then I make videos about those types of things. So like the classic gear guides, best cameras to purchase, things like that. So which draws in more viewers, as well as hopefully they click those links and go into Amazon and buy it because they get a small percentage. So the last couple of months, my ad revenue has doubled. So I'm making right around about $800 to $1,000 from YouTube. Which is really good. And in Amazon, that's all over the place. But right now, last month I did about, I think, close to $800,000 there.
800,000?
No,
or
800.
Okay. That's still good, but I was like, huh?
Yeah, no, 800,000 in a month. Woo.
We'd be done. I'd retire.
Yeah, come on out. I'll take it to Taylor Swift.
Please.
But yeah, no. So right, $800 to about $1,000 is kind of the average right now. But in January, it's going to drop drastically.
Right.
But then it also, if you're looking to do this and you hear these numbers, it's like you also got to think of how the payouts work to correlate with like your budgeting, because Amazon, you don't get, so you can see what you made, but you don't get that for 2 months. They hold it because they have a 60-day return policy. So if somebody bought it, something off of it, right, and then they returned it, you don't get that commission or that thing. So
that makes sense.
After 60 days, then they send you the whatever's left if nobody, returns something. YouTube is only 30 days behind. So whatever I make this month, I won't see till the end of January. And then Patreon, it's just monthly. But Patreon, I make a couple $100 on Patreon through members. So
I thought about doing a Patreon a while ago. I didn't really know what content I would be doing on Patreon. So I just was like, eh.
So I always go too big in everything I do.
Same. Well, used to same.
I don't even shoot for the moon. I just said, let's screw the moon. Let's go to Mars. This is how I kind of think in life, which it sometimes works out, not always. But so with my Patreon page, I offer way too much for how much people are paying. So like I've got there's 4 tiers. I'm actually going to be eliminating one. So I have a $1 tier. There is a 5 and a 10, and then there's a 30. The 30 is capped at 7 people, where I actually send a physical, one-of-a-kind Polaroid photo that I took, and it's signed and everything. They get that, and of course everything else below it. Which everything else below it is kind of nuts, because I also offer a 4x6 monthly photo. It's also signed. That's a copy of a photo that I took and everything. I just do a fun design and everything, and try to make a fun collectible type of thing. But where the main value is in the what I do Zoom calls. So every month, so it's called the club meeting, so people can come on, and I have a topic that we're talking about, but it's just face to face with me, or I'll bring on other content creators that I know, or other people that might have a good topic that we can chat about, and they can also get their questions answered. If they're struggling with a camera and not knowing what's going on, they literally can ask anybody there or me face to face. Really fun.
Interesting.
And then there's extended versions of this podcast that people can watch there every episode. And then there's the exclusive videos that I'll post in there for everybody that only can be found in there. Then there's 24-hour early access to all my videos, plus they're ad free. So there's a lot.
I'd pay for it, but I don't have any extra. I like that people pay for that because I feel like I don't have any extra money to be like doing. That's why I don't do Patreons or anything. I think I did one in the past, but I was like, no, I need my $10 or whatever it was that I'm paying.
True.
But I think that's cool that there's people out there who are still kind of doing that and stuff. Because I thought about like selling like mentorships for wedding videography because I just like know people would buy that, but. Yeah. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll be a mentor after I kind of retire from actually doing. I'll mentor and help people on that because I don't know, or do like an ebook kind of get. I've always wanted to find a way to do passive income. Yeah. I just never really did it. I have always so many ideas in here, but I'm just like, get out, do it. Yeah. It's hard to get them out because it's overwhelming. But there's a lot of ideas in this brain. It's just same. Because I need an extra income source because I have them. But one of them, I haven't booked any weddings for next year, so I'm not seeing that income, and it's fine. I try not to touch it anyways until I've done the video. But I just like don't have extra income coming in, and so I'm just like, well, I usually have like this extra side money that's not here now, so I need to figure out something. Yeah. But I also am just kind of happy being quiet for a second.
Sure. No,
but I think that's cool. I think it's awesome that you can do that and you've kind of figured it out and it's growing and I know it ebbs and flows, but it takes a lot to have to do that.
It's a lot of work.
It's
a lot of work, but I feel like if you so at the $10 tier, that's where you get the Zoom calls. And I'm actually going to be implementing the photos back to that tier. I had to take it away because the price went up for my photos, like where I order them through to send. So I had to change it and I put it to 15. So I'm eliminating the $15 tier and I'm going to put the photos back to the 10. However, I am going to have to raise that to $12. I haven't said that publicly yet. So if you guys are watching this, you're you're learning about that now.
I don't think that's a big deal, but I mean,
but the thing is, I've wanted to take into consideration of like with that price, like people are paying for Netflix, right? For actually, it's gone up more. It's like $15, I think now for Netflix.
Yeah, but I pay for Kindle Unlimited. That's $12, which I was thinking about canceling. But unlimited amounts of content on that thing. So, but yeah, Netflix things like that are around that price and more.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, well, if I'm just some guy on the internet that makes YouTube videos, if you're gonna spend $12 a month or $10 a month or whatever it is, I want to make it to where you have a lot of value, but also you feel like you physically got something for your purchase, right? So that's why I'm like, here's a photo that you're technically buying, and then everything else is just free. That's the angle I kind of took.
I like that approach because it shows for something. I like it.
Yeah, because I really take into consideration of like if someone's willing to give me money, I really want them to get something out of it. And the photos are pretty cool, but. I've been having to bounce around because once you start implementing the physical stuff, you're at the mercy of where you get it from, and prices go up and change. And I've had to make some changes. People have complained about like, oh, you took away the photos, you moved them up, they're more expensive. I can't afford that. I'm like, I know, but what about all this other stuff you're getting? I mean, we get to talk face to face. Like where's
that alone is worth a lot. I feel like just like mentors.
Exactly. Like where else are you gonna go? What other content creators out there that's in the community is helping like as much as I'm trying to do?
People charge like $600 for that kind of stuff.
So Luria charges $750 I think per month. To talk on a 30-minute call. Mine are an hour. And it's like for $10, it's like, come on.
It's good to just pick someone's brain and learn from somebody who's in the industry, even if they're not at the top of the industry, but like you have experience. Like there's a lot there. Like I feel like I learned things from you, like just tech wise. You probably know more than I do, but I figure things out. I'm the tech person in my circle, but I kind of hate it. So. I just hate audio actually, but I work in radio, so if audio is always the problem.
I'm not an audio guy. A funny thing is I'm not even a photographer, but I have a photography channel. I've never considered myself to be a photographer. I'm a video guy.
Yeah, I don't even consider myself to be a photographer. I'd consider myself a videographer kind of, but like it's always I don't know.
For me to like when someone asks me, hey, what do you do? I'm like, honestly,
all the things.
exactly. Like, what do you call what I do? Like, there's no way for me to simply say it. I'm like, I'm a videographer. But there's so much more to that I do. I do live stream. I do custom production studio building. Like I guess I'm a photographer.
that's I forgot that you do the studio builds. That's cool.
Yeah.
Or you did. I don't know if you still do, but
the last one, it's been a while. The last one I did was in April in Toronto for Stu McLaren. Cool. If you know who he is.
I don't know who that is. I probably should, but
he invented Tribe. Have you ever heard of Tribe?
What's that?
I can't really remember it, but it's pretty big.
I probably know. I just I'm honestly a little out of touch of a lot of things that are happening on the internet worlds. It's like sometimes I'll catch up, sometimes I won't.
It's not my world or warehouse, so I've heard of it, but like.
Well, it's just like with YouTubers. Like I used to know them 5 years ago. Now I'm like, who's that person? I cannot keep up, and so I'm just like, eh. If they're really cool enough, I'll figure it out eventually. They'll stick around. So.
I have unsubscribed to so many content creators, YouTubers that I was following back in like 2018 era. I actually felt like they held me back because I was like, oh, I need to be like them, or I need to have the style of them to go anywhere. And so
you have your own style.
Exactly. That's what I need. Yeah. Now I gave it all up. Like kind of the point that I was talking earlier was, I use my phone for like 90% of my videos now. And that was, I was so anti-phone. Like,
I was too.
But now it's like, oh my gosh, it's so freaking easy. I can just pull it out.
My phone is just like, they're just good now. Like the videos are almost better than my camera in some way. Like my actual camera, like in low light situations and stuff like that. So
when I travel,
I haven't even taken my camera traveling in a long time.
Same. Well, actually, not a long time. I brought it with me. I guess I did bring it. Okay, I'd still bring it. No, I didn't. Okay, so in Ohio last year, I went to Ohio in September, and then drove down to Georgia with my friend Dave, YouTuber. I brought my GH5. I used it one time to film a quick interview with somebody, and then that was it. And so then in October I went out to Universal Studios, and I didn't bring it. I didn't even use it last time. It was the first time ever I didn't bring my camera. It was just my phone, and I'm like, this is crazy. This just feels weird, but I'm like, this is all I've been using. It's like I don't even need to bring it.
Well, if you're out and about like that, the phone is so much easier. Like in certain situations, pulling out my camera is not really a big deal. Like I always keep it in my backpack because I'll use it at work if we're filming a video and stuff, because I prefer it on that a little bit and like my own audio and everything. But yeah, when I'm out and about, it's like just another hassle to bring. And honestly, like if I go like home, like to my small town I'm from, I will like purposely not bring my camera because someone might be like, hey, can you take pictures? And I'll be like, nope, sorry, can't. I'm unavailable.
It was weird. I went there. I'm like, I only was going for the day. No, I was there for 2 days. I brought a small bag. I tend to overpack. I don't know about you, but I always bring so much gear.
Trying to be better.
But this time I'm like, no, I'm going to bring a small bag, and most of it will be clothes. And then whatever's left over is the gear that I bring. And it was so weird, but it was so nice to travel.
And I was like, did you have a good experience? I'm sure that it was much better. And you weren't like thinking about all the things you had. You were just doing your thing.
Yep. I'm like, this is great.
No,
I'm like, oh, it would have been nice to have that thing though.
Nah, you were fine. You didn't need it.
No, because like every time I do that, I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to do this. I'm like, so much work to
and then you don't
set it up, and I don't do it, but I bring it.
I'm the same.
It's awful.
I'm the same way.
It's so bad.
There's just certain times for that, but not. It's more often than not. I don't want my camera.
How often do you do any travel?
I don't ever, because I am editing every single weekend. I'm just kidding. Well, that's my goal next year. So like this year, I think the main place I traveled was New York for my Gracie Award. That was the trip, and it was paid for, and it was awesome. Yeah. Well, half of it was paid for. I'm trying to think. Like I am more like a weekend traveler if I do anything. But this year, that's the only thing. I went to New York, and then I went to Dallas in October, and that's all I did this year. And the rest of the year, I was just trying to get on with my life and live my life. But I have a big goal to do more travel next year. I don't know if I'll go to Europe next year, but I really want to go to Europe. I want to go to Germany.
That's where I might be going next year.
Oh, well, I want to go there. So it's like it's been on my, I'll go with you. I don't care. It's been on my bucket list since I graduated college. And I just never, COVID kind of happened, and that was part of the reason it got stalled. But I also just saving for it and everything has just been hard. And my wedding videos, I've been like, I don't know how to like do this and that at the same time. So like really I'm trying to take a step back, and I just want to plan like a 2 to 3 week trip to Germany or something. And so I don't know if it's next year. I don't know if it's the year after. I turned 30 in 2025, and I was thinking maybe that's the year, but I'm going to start really like planning it. I was thinking today, I was like, man, if I didn't have this wedding video that I was editing, I could have spent this week in a different place. And so that's my goal next year. Like I usually take these 2 weeks off, and one of them I'm like not in Price, where I'm from, my hometown. I'm here doing other things. And next year I want to be somewhere else. So
this year, I did so much traveling. I wanted to make it this year my travel year, and I'm like, I'm not dating anyone, so all the money that I would probably put in towards that, I'm like, I'm gonna give it to myself, and I'm gonna go.
Good. That's where it should go.
These trips, but I've been to New York, but it was in 2020, peak.
That sounds like a terrible time
pandemic.
to
go. It was in August.
How did they let you in?
Oh man, it was crazy. But like the streets were dead. There was like no one walking around. I'm like, these sidewalks, I could drive 2 freaking SUVs down the sidewalk and there was nobody here. It was like a ghost town.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah. But I definitely want to go back to New York at least. But this year for my birthday, I went down to Florida to Disney World. And then I rented a car and drove out to Kennedy Space Center and kind of did all like the Florida stuff. Don't need to go back. Florida's not
I have like no interest in going to Florida. Like Disney World sounds kind of fun and Harry Potter World sounds fun, but going to Florida, like it just doesn't seem interesting.
Disneyland. Or excuse me, they have they have the Harry Potter stuff over in Universal California, so you can do that there. But yeah, so I did that, and then that's how I started the year. And I did some local trips. Sometimes I forget because I drove up to Seattle a couple times. I only live a few hours away from there. So I was there, did some stuff in Oregon. I drove down to like Bend, Oregon to the last Blockbuster. And then where else did I go after that? So I went back to California a couple times actually for work. And then I went to Disneyland. I went to Disneyland twice this year at Disney World.
That sounds fun. I'd like to go to Disneyland.
I have a friend that works there, so I was able to get me in for free. Well, the first time I went. This last time they weren't able to for some reason. I don't know why. But
yeah, those tickets are expensive. That's a nice deal.
It was. And then I did Universal Studios. I went to the Horror Nights in October. I had a friend that was
fun.
Playing Ellie from Last of Us in one of the houses, the mazes or whatever. So I went and checked that out. And then I went to Canada, Toronto, and then I went to, where else did I go? I was all over the place. Florida, like I said.
More places than I went.
I travel. I try to get out, travel as much as I could. But this year was like the worst year of my life. But like,
same.
It was like,
can relate.
It was like every time like something happened, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna let it get to me. I'm just gonna like just brush it off and go do something fun. And life's like,
never mind.
Hold my beer.
I guess we all had similar years because that's exactly what mine was like. Because I forgot I saw Taylor Swift this year in March. I went to Vegas, but that's not like that big.
Oh, I went to Vegas too.
Well, because that was like before the trauma is how I consider that. It was before the trauma, so it was like a different life. But then so that was Vegas. That was the first trip I took. It was in March. Saw Taylor, had the best time. Would love to go see her again anywhere.
Out here not here, but like close to me.
Yeah.
Vancouver, BC. I live in Vancouver, WA.
I will fly there if you find affordable tickets. Yeah. So just let me know.
It's like this next December,
I don't know.
Right? I think it's December of next year.
It's next year. But I'm hoping that she's coming back around in the US as well, like another West Coast stop. So I have my fingers crossed that might happen, but who knows? Anyways, but yeah, we went Vegas, New York, and Dallas, Texas, I think are the only places that I traveled this year, which, that's more than a lot of people, I should say. And 2 of them were paid for. So
because I could go to Canada for free. I got paid technically for a job. So like, I didn't really
that is a big benefit.
Yeah, but like I didn't get to do anything really. Normally, when
that's how it was in Dallas. I did like nothing. I was in a convention center the entire time.
Normally, when I do those builds, those jobs, I can sneak away for a couple of hours every now and then, usually just for breaks, or once I'm done for the day, I can kind of go off and try and find something cool to go do. But yeah, not on this last one. But it's also a unique thing to where the job I do have, and I'm single or whatever, and I can't take that money and go do trips. But then if I do it, I have to justify it for work. So all of them are work related, because I'll be filming or doing something. But I enjoy it, so it's like still fun. But it's just like I did have to do all of that, all those trips, except for Vegas. I went with my sister and her partner. We had a great time. But all the other ones, I did all by myself.
That's alone. Great, though. I want to try solo travel. I haven't really. I mean, I kind of did it in Dallas, but I wasn't like traveling. I just flew solo, I guess. But I fly solo nearly 99% of the time for anything. Even if I'm going for work, it's usually meeting somebody else there and doing the job. But like, I would say depending on where you're going, I do not recommend going to like Universal Studios alone, or go to Disneyland alone. It's not that fun, especially. Oh, that doesn't sound fun. I'm more of like a go. I see, like I've contemplated like going to Germany by myself. It's terrifying to do that because I feel like I'll get kidnapped. But like it's something that's crossed my mind to just like do something crazy and just do it by myself. Because I think that I'd be fine doing that alone. Because all I want to do is just explore. Like I just want to like go to restaurants and things like that, and that's fine to do alone. But I think it's different as a woman as well. You're just like feel like you're gonna get kidnapped, but. Yeah, I've never really done it, so I'm totally fine being alone. Like I like to go to lunch by myself. I like to travel, but so I just haven't traveled very far alone. So
after a while, because like I'm fine, like doing all these things by myself, living alone, all that stuff. It's fine. It's just every now and then when it's like, oh, I'm doing something cool, like going to the Universal Studios for like the horror nights, going through those like haunted houses.
Well, you kind of want a buddy. I get that.
Yeah, and then like you come out like, dude, that was so cool. I'm like, oh, cool. Well, there's nobody here. All right, on to the next one.
It's and I get that. Kind of just want like somebody.
Yeah,
you can usually find friends there, but I feel like people aren't as social as they used to be.
I don't have a lot of like. I have 2 local friends. All my other friends like live far away, and even the ones that are local, it's like they work a normal job, right? And so like, oh, we have to put in our request. I'm like, really? You can't just go?
That's me.
It's the perk of me.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey,
I'm
thinking next week of going over to wherever, and he want to go. I'm like, oh, well, I got to put in this. This takes like a month for approval, and this and that. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I just end up going by myself.
Oh, my job's not that strict with like approvals.
There's a lot of perks to working for yourself, but
there's
so much stress that comes with it too.
But there's stress, yep.
But there's
pros and cons.
Yeah, because there's times where I'm like, hey, I want to go do this thing. Like, I can't. I mean, I do have one small thing because I have 2 dogs. I have to find somebody to like watch them. That's usually been a bottleneck at times. One's older, one's still young and spry, but that's the only thing. But speaking of Europe, I was talking about earlier going to Germany. I've had one to check out Germany. That'd be super fun. But I was thinking of going to like London.
I also want to go there. Yeah.
I know somebody that shout out to you, Dennis. He does a camera, like Polaroid camera repairs and modifications, and he has fun products and stuff that he's building a business around it. And so I want to go out there for that and meet him and plus just explore. And for there's a fun little Stranger Things play that just opened up in London that
sounds cool.
The creators of the show, the writers and everything, they wrote it. And it's like a prequel to the actual TV show. And it just premiered, and I'm like, oh, it'd be so cool if I go do that. But again, I'd be like doing it by myself, like in another country.
I don't know. Let me know when you want to do that, because I want to get the heck out of here and make a trip, so I don't even really care about.
There's also, I'm 100%. I'm not even joking. I will 100% be reaching out to you for that, because that just sounds so cool. But like also, it's up in the air, but in October, of next year, I might be going to Japan. Which
Scary.
Is with my 2 local friends. They've been there
That
before.
sounds fun.
And they've been there before. They love it there. And they've like, hey, you want to go with us? I'm like, well, yeah, because they actually know what to do. They know the stuff. So I'd actually have a little tour guide, essentially.
Yeah, that's the only reason I get nervous to travel by myself is I just don't know what to do. Like I have a book about Germany and I think I could figure it out, but it would just be so much easier to have like somebody. So like, especially just because the language barrier is just different. Right. So I think that's a fear of mine, but I think that it's just going to be the situation regardless. And so I just have to make it happen. Right now, money is kind of the reason, but I have been saving Sky Miles. So I'm trying to like,
I have some miles
figure it
left
out.
over, not a lot, but I got some that should help with it. I've been in a financial situation as well. I'm having to sue someone. Did I tell you about that?
Uh-oh.
I don't know if I told you about that, but
maybe. Question mark.
I have a court date in February. This client, he did a chargeback for my services that I provided him. He said it was done by mistake, but he did it. He filed it in September, and I don't have my money. So
wait, he took your money?
Yeah, I did a job for him. Job was complete, and then a month later, he filed a chargeback because he paid with
That's wild.
Paid with a credit card, and he's like, "Oh, oops, I didn't mean to." And he said, he like, I'll get it reversed, but I don't have my money.
That's
so
wild.
I've had to like, it's been a nightmare. It's so many things that happened from that. It's literally, I was traveling too. I was in Ohio traveling, and boom, all my money was like nearly gone.
That's insane. I'm sorry that happened. I didn't know about that.
It was awful, working through it, but I have some miles saved up. I know I'll get all that sorted out, and I'm like, I love traveling, especially if I have somebody to go with to another country. It's even better. I've always wanted to check out London, but also I'm like, I'll go to London because I actually still know somebody there that will like help me, pick me up, drive me. Yeah,
that sounds appealing.
Exactly. Yeah, and this guy, he's like the nicest, sweetest guy ever. He's like so cool. So it would be fun for a lot of reasons. But I will 100% be reaching out to you.
My 30th year of life. I'm just going to go for it. Yeah. So
I spent my 30th year of life in lockdown.
Well, sorry.
It was COVID.
It's okay. Mentally, I'm still 26. So my real age doesn't matter.
How have we not mentioned this before? We have the same freaking birthday.
Oh, I forgot about that. That is true.
You were the first
I was going to ask, I was like, when's your birthday? But then I knew that there was something there. I was like, yep, that's weird. I have a twin brother who has the same birthday. His name's also Christian, but
that's funny.
I don't know if you knew that, but
I don't think I ever knew that.
No,
that's so funny.
But we do have the same birthday. Very fun fact.
February 7th.
Yep.
I'll be 34.
It's a good day. Do you want to know something else?
Yes.
That's when Taylor Swift goes back on tour in Tokyo.
February 7th?
She does it on February 7th.
Well, hey, let's go to Tokyo.
Yeah.
Just move up my Japan trip to February to go see Taylor Swift.
Well, I mean, I think that I don't know the time difference off the top of my head, but I think it's going to be an early morning show because I normally check in on the show. So I'm like, I don't know if I can watch this one.
I see your post.
I got to check in. It's honestly, people love the Taylor Swift content. It's like just my natural habitat. So
yeah, like, I guess this will be a great way to wrap it up because, man, I can talk to you all freaking day. But, because I started getting into all of, like, really focusing. Like, I don't know about focusing, but started, like, raising my eyebrow a little bit, being like, what's going on with the Taylor Swift stuff when the whole Travis Kelce stuff was, like, really starting to ramp up. Oh, there she is.
I'm just showing you. That's all.
And again, so I started like kind of diving into that and it got kind of interesting. And then the whole like the big one, whatever, when she changed the lyric to the Chiefs or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting. And then I found his podcast with his brother, and I'm like, wow, his brother like is super cool, and he's a lineman, he's a center. I was a lineman, I was a center in high school, and I kind of look like him a little bit. So I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. So I started watching actually their podcast, mostly clips from their podcast.
I haven't watched a full episode. I've seen clips.
I've been watching a lot of it before I was diving into Taylor Swift. I was just like, oh, these guys are actually like really cool people. I'll learn more about them because I'd never heard of them before. I didn't know like they had like a TV show or Travis had a TV show or something. I don't know that's even now, but just learning a bit about them. And then the Taylor stuff was like sneaking in more and more, and I just kind of was like interesting. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. So I contacted you. I was like, hey, where should I start?
And that's a hard question to answer because it depends on your personality type. But yeah,
you're the biggest Taylor Swift fan I know.
The thing about that is I am a big fan. I'm obsessed with her, but like I am not even the biggest. Like
Right.
there are people with spreadsheets. Like, and I go to them for like, you know what I mean? Like her, like just analyzing everything. And it's just, that's why it's so fun to be a fan of hers, is just like all the Easter eggs she gives people. And just other than her songwriting and her amazing storytelling is just like, I don't know. I can get very passionate about her. So
one of the things that I really liked about her is that she's showing the industry of like even film, like you don't need studios, right? You don't need studios to like distribute your stuff.
She's super inspiring in that way.
And I'm like, oh, look at this. She just completely, because like, what was it the studio was going to take? I can't remember how much it was to distribute her Era's movie. And she's like, nah.
Yeah, I don't remember either, but
I'm going to do it myself and keep all that money.
She took matters into her own hands, and that's just what she deserves all of the success she's getting based because of everything she just has gone through in the past. And I think that this is just like, it's literally karma, and it's just she's getting good karma, and I think it's good. And the thing is, she doesn't like just, she gives her money to, like, she gave her truck drivers I think $100,000 bonus or whatever. Like that's incredible. Like no, who else does that? No, Taylor Swift. She just, that's why I think that she's got so many genuine fans that have stuck around. She's just a genuine person, and like you can tell.
You listen to interviews and stuff, and she's just kind of like this awkward, relatable person that I'm like, oh wow, she really is like cool. And listen to her lyrics and stuff. I'm like, dude, she's like speaking to me.
She is. And honestly, if you don't like connect with the music of her songs, just read some of her lyrics. Like that's something that I could tell people. Like if you're even remotely curious, I don't know, which album would you tell them, because you're kind of newer to this? Like so 1989, Folklore also.
Folklore,
like
well, I'd say watch it on the Disney Plus. I like that more. Just listening to the album, because you get to hear her explain.
I agree.
What they're about, and it made it more impactful. That Folklore documentary that you recommended to me. Thank you.
She needs to do one on Evermore, but
but
the Long Pond Studios is what it's called.
Yeah, the first one I went and bought was the 1989. And I'm like, oh, so this is what this song's from, which are like the standard hits. But like the deep tracks ones, I feel some of them are like way better. And then
her vault tracks. Oh my gosh. I was
gonna say her vault track. There's that one that just wrecked me. It was like, oh my god.
And it hurts so good.
Yeah, like it hurts so good, but like it just like I've been in that same situation with somebody, and
and that's like what she just helps you understand your feelings. And I just feel bad for anybody who does not have that support from her, because that's why I like her so much. I like have gone through things and I'll listen to her. I'm just like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm like, you're helping me. Like I get it. So, but I don't know, I love her. So
it's a good like way to describe it, what you said, like read the lyrics if you don't like the music.
If you're not like I mean, I think you will like the music depending on, like, it's some of it's catchy, some of it's deep, some of it's just depends on your taste, I guess, and on what's going to connect with you. But reading the lyrics is really going to like, it'll do something for you, I think. So
because there's a lot of like stuff like I have past like relationships I've been in, mostly just like one particular one, but that I'm like, oh, I just didn't know how to describe like how I felt, and then listening to some of her songs, I was like, that's it.
She does it for you. Yep. And there's so many people that relate to her, and people just want to, like, if people hate on her, I'm just like, literally, you just don't know. And it's so sad. And like, there's literally not a single reason to have hate towards her. So when people like start getting on her or like trying to poke me about it, I'm just like,
and they're the people that
I don't care.
They haven't,
and she doesn't care either. There was one time, like last week at work, a coworker came up to me, and because it was Taylor Swift's birthday last week, just fun fact, on the 13th, and so like I just posted a picture. I was like, happy birthday, Taylor Swift. And I was just wearing a Reputation shirt. And then one of my coworkers came up to me the next day and was like, happy late birthday, Taylor Swift. And I was like, oh, thanks. I didn't really know what to say. I was like, okay. And then he was like, you know what? I don't really have anything major against her, but like, I am so sick of seeing her everywhere. She's just like everywhere. And I'm just like, oh, I don't care. Like, stop following the things that are showing. It means she's doing something, but she doesn't even have to do anything. She just is a joy to the world. That's literally why she got Time Person of the Year. So like that's another thing I'll just say, like, if you are curious, read the article on the Times Person of the Year. I feel like it is so well written and just so warm and cozy, and there's some things in there that there's one paragraph specifically that like made me emotional, explaining what it's like to be a fan of Taylor Swift. So that, and then I just listened to a podcast today from the New York Times podcast on like the year of Taylor Swift. It was posted a few days ago. Those two, like if you just read that or listen to that, it helps you just understand like why we care. So I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to anyone who's like, stop talking about Taylor Swift.
I understand. I'm following you. I'm with you. Picking up what you're laying down. It's funny because like I've always liked her, like some like her like the main like radio hits or whatever. It's always been fine. But if I were to have dived into all her like discography, like that she has now, like if it was all these songs were out in 2017, I would say even 2016 actually, I probably wouldn't really. I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand.
You're not quite there yet. Like, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Because I didn't have like I've been through a lot of shit,
right?
In between those years, so now I'm there. Now there's this music. I'm like, I can relate to this. I understand it. This is what I've been through. This is how I've felt, and I've never been able to fully explain it. But somehow this woman has been able to make these songs and just put it all out there, and I just to where it makes sense. And to the people that don't understand it, is probably because you haven't experienced a lot of the stuff that
you
Taylor's
haven't experienced it,
or you haven't gone through anything major, which is honestly a good thing.
Good, I'm glad.
So, but yeah, so for the people that are hurting out there, that's where Taylor Swift comes in to really give us a Band-Aid.
She hurts you more, but in a good way. Like she helps you go through it because she's also been through it. So, but there's more. It's more than just relationships. There's grief and stuff like that she writes about as well. So I understand what you're saying, because I really I was a fan of Taylor, but it was in 2013 when 1989, I guess 2014ish, that album is what really hooked me in to Taylor Swift, because I was finally like understanding what she was talking about. But if you haven't listened to Speak Now yet, I'm curious to know what you think about that one.
I haven't listened to it yet.
It'll be a good one. The vault tracks aren't as like in your face on that one, but there are definitely just like, it's kind of an album that I just turn on, and she's got good lines in there. It's not as like crushing depending on the song, but it's a good album. I think that one was, I was obsessed with that one when I was younger. So when I would be considered a closet Swiftie.
Closet Swiftie, yeah. So far, my favorite ones are 89 and Midnights.
Midnights is good.
And then maybe Lover after that. Those are probably my top three, I would say.
I'm surprised you put Lover above Folklore, but
Folklore, I definitely
it's different, and it's hard to place them all because they're so different. Yeah. So that's I would like you to listen to Reputation, because
I'm really excited.
Curious.
So going back to what I said at the very beginning, I was like, treating it as if it's like a TV show. So I'm not listening to them on Spotify. Like I want to listen to them like on the album, like back to back, like in that sense. And so I guess I'm waiting for, like everyone else is waiting for, her version of that to come out.
If you find the OG Reputation though, you should buy that though, because it's hard to come by.
It is.
Like if you find it randomly,
and it's expensive, but for sure. And I still actually want to get the 89 original one just to put on
I
the
do
wall.
too. I want the 1989 original, and I think Reputation are the two that I would want, because I found Fearless. I just haven't bought it because I just feel like my album is 1989, and that's the one that I really like jumped into. Yeah. And then everything after that, I'm like, it's all good. But I have most of those, not all of them. I just don't have Reputation because it cannot be found for a decent price until she releases it. But
it's like super expensive.
I don't feel bad about buying the vinyl of the old ones, because I don't feel like they're already been purchased and that money's already to somebody. I'm gonna give it to a local record shop if I give it money, but I still stream it until she decides to give it to us, which could be tomorrow.
Well, it could be next week.
There's a theory about
It's
the 21st of December of maybe an announcement, but you know what? We've thought it was going to be November 30th because she's crazy, and I don't know what she's going to do. But the winter solstice is tomorrow. So
my personal theory of about that is I'm looking at it more as a strategic business type thing, right? Like she's already released 2-3 albums this year. I can't remember how many.
I don't even remember.
But yeah. Of like her re-records, and she's on break right now till February. That's the perfect time for her to drop that new one, because then she'll be probably. I think she will drop it in songs February for the rest of the tour. It just makes sense. Yeah. So if you watch her, I will stop talking about Taylor Swift, but I think she ended her 1989 era because she reset her profile picture back to Midnights, and now we've seen her with this new side part. Literally, this is how we figure things out. She gives us clues. She ended her 1989 era, and now she's pretty much only been seen in black, when she's at premieres and stuff like that. And she's doing this new side part, which I think is just different. I don't know what she's doing. And so I think we're moving into Reputation. It's obvious at this point. It could be debut, but it's Reputation. It's Reputation. No, so... I mean, the whole when they ship the 89 out vinyls to people, and there's that random black
I didn't get a random black one, but some people did. I was hoping for it.
On purpose.
I would have lost my mind.
You got the black one. But yeah, so it's clearly going to be that. And then which is fun. I think that what she does is really cool with those types of things, when she puts those Easter eggs in her marketing and whatever. It's insane. There's not very many people that even do that. I think she's the one that started this, and she has gone insane with it. There are Easter eggs that I don't think we'll ever find that she's got in her videos. It's so crazy. She drives us wild, and I love it. Keeps me going. Keeps you going. Well, it's probably a great way to wrap up the episode. We've been talking for a while.
Yeah, that was a long. Good luck editing this.
yeah, I can play this at 2x speed on Premiere. It's fine. But before I wrap up, where can the fine people find you to check out what you're up to? Where's a good place?
Pretty much just at Caitlyn Creative is the most frequent place. I'm on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel, but it's pretty. There's just my wedding videos are there. So at Caitlyn Creative, I have a website, CaitlinCreative.com, but it's kind of in a reconstruction phase due to it being a wedding video platform. So I would say Instagram is the best place, and Twitter, but I'm not on there as much anymore.
You mean
X? That's why I'm not on there anymore. It kind of annoys me that they changed the name.
Yeah. Well, links to your socials will be in the description. Thank you so much for coming on. We'll have you back for sure. Absolutely.
Thank you for having me. This was fun. It was recharging, and now I have to go edit the wedding video that I don't want to edit. So.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Ooh, what a great conversation and potential travel companion. Caitlyn, trust me, I will be reaching out to you. Let's travel the world. That was really fun. Definitely need to get her back on, mostly because we stopped recording and we ended up talking for another hour, and we had some really good conversations. And so I think we need to do something more in the future together. So if you guys want to see that, stay tuned. We'll see what happens. But thank you, Caitlyn, for coming on. It was so great to get your insight into work-life balance, learn more about what you do on a daily basis. We're very similar in the regards of the struggles. It's really nice to hear that it's not just me out there that's having some of the same struggles. And I don't know about you, I might have to go to Japan in February for our birthday. Hit up that Taylor Swift concert. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening, because yes, this is also in video form on YouTube and Spotify. And be sure to leave some comments. Let's continue the conversation. I'll see you in the next one. Now, get out there, make some art.